the director of Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon, and Harrison Ford. Are you kidding me? This movie's gotta be fantastic, right? I mean, it's really bad. No, it's awful. Oh, it's really awful. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today we're talking all about Harrison Ford's The Call of the Wild. Boy, it's really bad. But before I hop into what I absolutely did not like about this movie, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. Now, if you're wondering who that is, that's me, and I love talking all about movies, so each and every day you're getting a fresh new video. You're not gonna wanna miss out. Go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to tap on the notification bell right next to it. Like this video, share it with your friends, and also, you guys, I love you so much. Comment below, let me know what you think of this film, and if you think Harrison Ford still has some good years in him. Because you see this movie and you're thinking, oh boy, he's starting to phone it in. But we'll touch up on that in a little bit. Harrison, if you're watching this, I still love you. I swear. Just a little bit of housekeeping for you guys. Yes, I haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog yet, but I promise I'm gonna go to the theaters, watch it, and I'll drop my review for that shortly. So again, don't forget to hit the notification bell just to stay updated. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about Call of the Wild. Boy. We follow the life of Buck, a house dog turned sled dog who gets abducted, is brought to Alaska, and has to basically learn to survive on its own. The thing is, Buck crosses paths with John Thornton, a guy who needs Buck just as much as Buck needs him. And we kind of follow the lives of these two characters together and how they learn to survive and learn to love all over again. It sounds so sweet when I say it out loud. But boy, this movie is so sour. Let's not get too negative. Let's start with what actually worked in this movie, and there are a couple of things, like the CGI dogs. I saw the trailer, guys, just like you did, and boy, it's bad, right? The CGI looks so noticeable, but in the final product, it's almost like post-production helped this movie a ton. Guys, the CGI is not really that distracting. It actually looks pretty good. So kudos to the animation team, because you can't get live action dogs to do this. I've been seeing in YouTube comments on Twitter that why didn't you just get real dogs? But you guys, real dogs can't do not even half of the things, not even a quarter of the things that the CGI dogs do in this movie. So it worked for the film just fine. Now, like I said, there's not a lot to love about this movie. There's maybe one performance to actually fall in love with, and it's one that actually touched me personally. Actor Omar plays a mailman, and he's basically sledding across Alaska to deliver mail on time. He can never get there on time, so his arc is basically how him and Buck work together to get him and his mail mate played by Cara Gee, all the way across Alaska to some town I totally forgot the name of. But Omar Sy and Cara Gee provide really good heartfelt performances in a movie that is really skewing towards children, but they give layered approaches to their characters, and I liked it just fine. Actually, Omar Sy made me laugh, and there was a couple of moments there where I was like, am I getting emotional? Maybe I am. But then everything that follows is pretty bad. And this is gonna sound really weird, but Omar Sy gives a better performance than Harrison Ford in this movie. I hate saying those words out of my mouth because I love Harrison Ford, but I'm happy for Omar Sy. Okay, going through the list of things I like. Oh, that's about it. So let's hop right into the negatives. The Call of the Wild is incredibly boring, and it's really predictable too. Now, I can give predictability a pass in movies if the characters are likable and the story is fun and engaging. The Call of the Wild is none of these things. It's just predictable. It's a movie that unfortunately gets worse as the time goes on. So the first half feels fine, it's fit, it works for the movie. The second half is long and it's a drag. But this is a really bad second half that literally just takes everything the movie was trying to build up and just throws it into the ground. We're honestly faced with characters that were written for bad daytime TV rather than a full feature-length film. Why? Why? I mean, I was just asking why for so many character decisions in this movie. I really can't get over the wooden performances, and that's kind of where Harrison Ford's performance comes into play. Now listen guys, I love Harrison Ford. He's one of the best actors of all time. The dude is a legend, clearly, and he's not like terrible in this film. He's just uninspired, and I think that's because he doesn't need this movie. This movie needs him way more than he needs this movie, and that's really evident on his face. Everything is so wooden. It's very bland, right? It's incredibly vanilla, and I just don't think that this movie needed Harrison Ford. It could have been anyone else, and maybe the movie would have been better, but he's phoning it in here because he just doesn't need this role. And what's crazy is that he narrates half of this movie, and he's only in it for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, so I'm like, The other hour, maybe hour and a half, well, what's up? He was just non-existent. They used his voice because they knew he would be a draw. But he's a draw for a lot of adults, not so much for kids who just want to go and look at dogs and say, "This is so cute and fluffy." You know what I mean? I also had a huge issue with the conflict in this movie. In the first half, it's a lot about learning how Buck can survive and adapt. In the second half of the movie, we get Harrison Ford, Buck, and this crazy antagonist that I genuinely don't care about, named Hal, played by actor Dan Stevens, whom I like. I love Dan Stevens. I think he's great. But here he's just so one-dimensional, and they wrote him into the ground. It's not him, it's the writing. And let me tell you guys, there are some things he said in this movie that made me roll my eyes to the back of my head and think, am I really watching this film right now? It is just so forced, it's very hammy, and honestly, it's very unnecessary. And then when the end credits start to roll, you think to yourself, okay, what is it that this movie did differently from other dog movies? And the answer is nothing. This film is basically a dog story that we've seen 500 million times before, and sometimes it's been done better. Maybe every time it's been done better, because here is just very, again, boring is the word I would use for this movie. You don't find yourself really interested in the story. I wasn't intrigued in any scene because, guys, we've seen it before. So why would I want to go sit down for almost 2 hours of my time to watch a movie that honestly I've watched many times before? And that's the question that burned in my soul, and that's really why The Call of the Wild is a terrible film. And when I tell you that my eyes were getting heavy and I was starting to fall asleep, it wasn't the food I was eating, because that food was pretty good. You know, I had myself a chicken sandwich. It was pretty awesome. So overall, The Call of the Wild is a film you can pass on, and that's mainly because Harrison Ford phones in his performance, it's predictable, and it's just not a very interesting film. The CGI dogs are cute, but there are only so many moments where you can say, "Oh my goodness, they're so cute," before you start to realize that this film has zero foundation, and the payoff, boy, that second half is just tragic. Yeah, it's just really bad. Cute dogs cannot make up for a bad antagonist, a hollow plot, and really bad writing. I never expected this from director Chris Sanders because he did Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon. How does this product end up exactly how it did after you have an amazing 2 films in Lilo and How to Train Your Dragon with great writing, great characters, and a lovable plot, and then here you have the exact opposite? But I can confidently say that The Call of the Wild is a film that should probably stay lost in the woods forever. But hey, at least we got shirtless Harrison Ford in a pond to remind me why I need to go to the gym, because the dude looks a little bit more ripped than me. Alrighty, you guys, so there you have it. That's my review of The Call of the Wild, a movie that probably gets a D-. If you enjoyed everything you just heard and saw, again, don't forget to hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on that notification bell just to stay up to date with anything new that I drop. At the time of recording, we're almost to 900 subscribers. Are you kidding me? I love you guys so much, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you just staying active in the comments, liking, sharing this video, and following Real James on social media. Man, you guys are too good to me. Thank you so much, and hey, the road to 1,000 subscribers continues. Alrighty guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. Seriously guys, the best thing about that movie was eating that chicken sandwich. It was so tender, it was so... Alright, I'm gonna stop.